Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, new Disney Plus film, an animation / live action hybrid akin to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is definitely a huge inspiration for this film, and it's also directly referenced by it. It has a cool voice cast of Andy Samberg, John Mulaney, Will Arnett, Eric Bana, and Seth Rogen, amongst others. It revives the characters from the old Disney cartoon Rescue Rangers, the chipmunks, Chip and Dale. In the opening scenes, we learn how they were actually toon actors on the show that was being made in Hollywood. Again, much like Roger Rabbit, it's a world where animated characters exist and live in the live-action world together with humans. One day Chip decides to leave the show and go do his own thing, a thing which doesn't quite work, and the original show is cancelled because of that, leaving his longtime friendship with Dale in shambles, with Dale, in shambles. Years later, in present day, we find Dale living a quiet life as an insurance salesman, and Chip unsuccessfully trying to revive his career and pitch a reboot for the show. And as part of his efforts to stay relevant, he even has a surgery and becomes a CG character, as opposed to the others remaining hand-drawn toons. Chip and Dale are suddenly forced to reunite to help a friend who goes missing, and as it turns out, he's not the only one. Apparently, someone has been kidnapping toons, editing them, and then forcing them to do terrible bootleg movies. So our heroes go on this quest to investigate the case and save everyone. So, a couple of things that come to mind. As similar as the concept is to Roger Rabbit, I think Chip and Dale manages to do something fresh with it, not least because of the modern day concept of mixing CG and hand-drawn characters and using a few characters who are pretty new themselves, like the hilarious Ugly Sonic, which was my favorite joke of the entire film. Secondly, it's very, very meta, perhaps even more than Roger Rabbit. The whole bootleg thing, the Hollywood behind-the-scenes jokes, the playing around with the idea of shitty modern reboots as cash grabs, sometimes coming dangerously close to crossing the satire line and becoming what it's laughing at, especially in the rapping scene. But overall, I thought staying on the right side of that line. And thirdly, as much as the film can and will be amusing to kids, it's surprisingly adult and pretty damn dark if you think about it. The plot literally revolves around human trafficking, or toon trafficking, but in this world the concepts are one and the same essentially. There's violence, crime, drug use, hidden under the guise of the toons being addicted to smelly cheese, and an exploration of sad life in obscurity after having a successful career once. I think it's quite interesting in this regard, and it manages to strike that balance where kids will probably not pick up on the darkest shit and just have fun, but the adults have something to enjoy as well. Some of the jokes are very funny, the voice cast is amazing across the board. The visuals look okay, although I will admit that it's not as shockingly impressive as a film as much as Roger Rabbit was back in the day. Sometimes the animation is merged with real life not quite perfectly, and I thought some of the 2D animated characters didn't look quite as good as they could have. Also, as much as Disney goes unexpectedly dark with the film, especially a film made specifically for Disney Plus, it's worth noting that most of the characters that are widely featured in the film are either obscure, forgotten, or background characters from various older movies. So Chip and Dale Crew themselves, Peter Pan from the old animated film, the yellow fish from The Little Mermaid, Ugly Sonic, the bears from Coca-Cola commercials. I would have loved to see Disney poke some fun in the same vein, using their more famous characters. I don't know, the Frozen princesses or the Toy Story characters, but I guess we should be happy with what we got. I liked it. I thought it was definitely not a pure cash grab as I initially thought it would be, but instead a well-paced adventure film which will be funny and entertaining for kids and also features some dark and adult themes for more mature audiences.